Good morning, sports fans from all around the world. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Tuesday, September 6th, 2022, live from Vegas, right across the street from Topgolf. I'm about 6 minutes from the strip. Our weekly trip down 93 to the monsoons, I guess, of Boston. I've been here in Vegas since Sunday. I just talked to Jules for 2 seconds. He says it's been raining for 2 days. It's only been 110, 113 here, so you're not missing much. I'm being kidding. A shorter version today, but as I told Jules, 20 minutes with him is better than 2 hours with him. I'll just leave it right there. So without further ado, let's bring him in. The one and only Mr. Julian Edlow.
I'm not jealous of the 110-degree weather. I will say, football coming on. You see, I got the quarter zip. I'm ready for a little bit of fall weather, but it doesn't need to rain all day. I'm looking out my window. It's pouring. Just the normal fall crisp would be nice. We don't need the 2 days of pouring rain.
That Sunday morning crisp air, you can smell the leaves, the apple picking weather, right?
That New England football weather is the best. I will say, the people that live in, where you don't get all four of the seasons, we do get the extreme here, and I'm accustomed to it my whole life. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not one of those people that could live in Florida for the year or whatever. Go there in February after football season, sure, different story, but year round, can't do it.
Well, I get the college football, the college hockey bucket hat on for you, so I'm trying to get us there as well. So week 0, week 1 is complete in college football, and
Thank God.
I have to tell you this. We dipped our toes in a few spots. We're on the plus side, more of a let's wait and see approach. But some of the dramatics, some of the endings of these games were just instant classics. But take us down this past weekend with yourself. What you saw, you know what, we've been talking for months, Julian, and you're able to do all this kind of work, and then it kind of blows up in basically 10 days, 2 weeks. Frustrating, but the fact is you got 16, 17 weeks left.
Yeah, losing week 1 is always a little frustrating, and I don't want to let it discourage me because, as you know, if you followed me, I lost week 1 in college football. I'll get the numbers out later today, but it wasn't pretty. And like you said, a lot of those just a lot of bad coin flips too. Like all those instant classics you mentioned, I was on the wrong side of like goal line stands to end the game. App State, I personally split on the money line and +3. I did get it early. But you got a 2-point conversion for the win, wide open receiver trips and falls. And then UNC makes a mistake returning the onside kick, and you got another crack at it, a 2-point conversion to get to overtime and don't get it. Utah marched down the field, was in prime position to win that game. I can't believe Cam Rising threw that interception. We still have time to run the ball. And then I think you were on the right side of this one, right? You had some FSU on the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
So I got in nice and early on LSU -2.5. And that was probably the wrong side of that game. But after the coin flip losses all weekend, I was like, all right, we get this one into overtime and maybe LSU can win it by a field goal. Nope, block extra point. Very fortunate to be in that situation to begin with, but hey, we got there, and I thought one maybe could break our way, and no. So, the frustrating part is when you have those months of work and you beat the market, and you're on LSU -2.5 and it closes 4, and you're on Utah +1.5 and it closes -2.5, 3, and you're on App State +3, +125 money line, and it closes App State -3. And you go 0-3 on those, that's not fun. But you just got to trust yourself and say, 3 swift kicks below the belt right there, and that it's going to get better. But plenty of the reads were spot on. Pittsburgh, Arkansas money line parlay got there. I thought both teams would win by around 7. They both won by 7. So not going to spreads worked there. The Georgia Tech first half team total under last night got there. I wish I did Clemson for the game. That was one of those games. Clemson did not look good, even in that cover. They got to where they got because Georgia Tech was desperate. You start going for it on your own 35-yard line. You get these punts blocked, and now Clemson's just running the ball into the end zone with 20, 30-yard fields. That final score was not indicative of how poor Clemson looked again. I think a lot of people thought they'll bounce back from last year. It looked like the same Clemson product. Good defense, real elite top 10 defense, no offense unless they want to make that quarterback switch. The kid Klubnik came on late, really quick glimpse, but he looked a lot better than DJ to me.
And you were talking about that at length with us the last couple of weeks about that quarterback situation at Clemson. My brief overview, a lot of the single classic standalone games, these guys are just so sharp. It comes down to the last minute. Dabo could have taken the foot off the gas. They wouldn't have, it would have landed. They would have covered by the hook. They did get the team total in the last minute there. The FSU game again. I had flashbacks of Patriots Seattle. Instead of throwing it on the one, he tries a pitch at the one and he fumbles. And also, I was working in New York City and driving back to the Cape before Vegas. I didn't see it with my eyes. I went back and looked at the tape, and shame on me. We talk about not rebuilding, but reloading. Georgia, I mean, do we just pencil them in and Bama in, and we'll just find the other two?
Georgia was fantastic, whooped up on Oregon, and we'll see how much. What I'm positive of is that Georgia's the real deal again. We were kind of on the fence, maybe they lose a regular season game, lose to Bama in the SEC championship game. That's 2 losses. You could be out. They're going to find their way in one way or another, whether it means they lose, slip up in the regular season and then have to beat maybe an undefeated Bama team, or, if they just run through 12-0 and kind of it doesn't matter in the SEC championship game. Georgia was fantastic. Maybe this does mean that Oregon is a bit overrated. Bo Nix wasn't good. We'll find out more about Oregon. I'm not too high on Oregon, but Georgia was fantastic. That was probably the performance of the weekend. They've still got it. Their running backs. They had 2 running backs go in the NFL draft. The 2 kids that they were, I knew they're good prospects there at Georgia, but once I turned the game on, they're like these linebackers. They're like these Brandon Jacobs, like linebacker style running backs. Those kids were huge, like Derrick Henry looking running backs. 2 of them. I didn't know they were just stuffing it down Oregon's throat. And Alabama didn't have the competition, I guess, with Utah State. But 55-0 is 55-0. The defense was tenacious. The offense was going. The overreaction is just get ready for 12-0 Alabama against 12-0 Georgia in the SEC championship game, and then they'll do it again in the Natty.
Hawaii, you talked for months they were going to be a down and bad team. Opened plus 50. Now I've seen it as high as plus 52 against Michigan. Some of those down teams before we get into this week's card, the pluses and minuses that you saw again. I think of you a lot of times for the good and the bad. We've done so much work together in content. Again, you talked how bad they were going to be. I think your eyes are pretty good there, Julian.
Yeah, the futures market, I think I'm doing all right in. Shaky start for Pitt and NC State win totals. They both won, but they had wobbly wins. I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at Hawaii wise, and I'm trying to bring up right now. I don't think we have we don't have team totals up for next week, but Hawaii is going to be I want to say this might be a 7.5 team total with a minus 140 type of under. I'll play it. I'm not going to lay the 50 whatever with Michigan. Maybe they take their foot off the gas. I'm not going to play the under for the game because maybe they don't take their foot off the gas and just win 65-3. But Hawaii can't score. They lost 63 to whatever against Vanderbilt at home. Now you're going to the big house to play Michigan. If the team total 7.5, they get nothing more than a fluky touchdown in the game. I guess the only path that you lose is like they somehow get a field goal in the first half, and then they get a garbage time touchdown, and they get to 10. So Hawaii, I don't know. If the first half team total is like 3.5, I might go under. Like I just don't see how Hawaii is possibly going to score at Michigan.
I've gone back a few times, the UMass days and some of the other dreads of the market in the past, and then you actually see under overs of a half point in the first half.
Yep.
And they're begging you, hey, they're going to get at least a field goal, and more often than not, Julian, those go under.
Yeah, I mean, this is a much lesser extent, but I was on under 7.5 for Georgia Tech first half team total, and it closed 6.5. They land 3, and they easily could have gotten shut out. They got the field goal in the last 2 minutes. So like, Hawaii's not scoring in the first half at Michigan, and I don't think they're getting more than a touchdown in the game. So like, the way to play it, I know everybody's going to be looking at the Michigan side. How do I back Michigan? How do I back Michigan? I think the easier answer and the better bet is just how do I fade Hawaii?
100%. We got about 8 minutes before you have to leave. Why don't you take us through what your eyes are seeing so far in this week's market?
So not a ton on the college football side, and I'm not going to react and start piling on games after a bad week 1. I'll pick a couple strong spots in week 2. The only 2 things, and I haven't given these out yet, but the only 2 things I got in so far were BYU -2.5 against Baylor. I thought both teams looked good, but BYU particularly good, and that's up to 3.5. So we'll see what happens there. And then Memphis -6.5. Is just going up against. They have a poor pass defense, but a good run defense, and they're going up against a team that can only run the ball. So if you're going to stop the run, then you're going to win that game. But not a ton on the college side. So I guess since we just have a few minutes, we'll focus more on the NFL. It's NFL week 1, and people love that. So first of all, here's where I'll give my DraftKings pitch, because the team this morning sent me all the promos. Okay. This is what the people get scared of, these promos. There's no trick. We just want you to be a DraftKings Sportsbook player. Play with us. Don't play somewhere else. And what we're trying to do to get that to happen in week 1, if you're betting the Rams-Bills game on the money line, the Thursday night game, your team gets a 7-point lead, you cash the ticket. If I had that promo for my own college football bets on Saturday, I would have won plenty of money. App State was up 14. Utah was up 7. LSU took a lead. You get up, you cash your ticket. But no, all those teams came back in the end and lose those tickets. If you bet the Rams or the Bills on the money line and you get an opening drive touchdown, you cash. And then we're running the same promo for Sunday. Only catch there. Your team gets a 10-point lead. You cash your ticket. But you got the whole board to pick from on Sunday, including some big favorites. So that should be a little simpler, I would say. So those are the 2 promos at DraftKings. Bet the games there, and you cash early if your team gets a lead. Doesn't matter if you get backdoored.
So I was looking, we have obviously the Thursday night game. We have the Pats down at South Beach. Some good intriguing Sunday, and we've talked now for weeks and weeks. I already know you got some tickets in some games. Any movement that you've seen that has kind of got you back to the window, or you just doing a sit back and wait approach, or that your eyes are seeing this week?
Yeah, nothing crazy, but again, like, all that's going to happen Saturday, Sunday as everything gets closer, and then maybe something jumps out then. But yeah, I've been on the same 3 sides for 3 months now, and that's what I'm going to stick to. And the numbers are somewhat gone, but those sides are Miami at -2.5, and I think you can play it at 3. The Patriots are going to look better. Like, I don't think Belichick's going to throw them out to just get slaughtered with this zone running scheme that just hasn't been working. They'll try and use a little bit more, I think, of that spread offense that they used last year. But if you spend all your time in training camp running something and then try to go to something else, it's also not going to go as well. So like, I think Miami's going to look pretty good in that opener, to be honest. On Sunday, I have or on the other Sunday one that I do have the Saints -4 against the Falcons, which is up to 5.5. I think 5.5 is probably as far as I would go, or you can use it as a money line parlay leg. I think the Falcons are just going to be bad. Kyle Pitts is a good talent, but they're awful on defense. They've been using all their top 10 picks on pass catchers, but their quarterback is Mariota, who struggles getting them the ball. Saints have a good defense, somewhat reloaded on offense with Jameis, who was good. 14 touchdowns, 3 picks when he got hurt last year. His problem in Tampa was the interceptions. He's been good with New Orleans, and he's going to be back with Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry. They draft Olave high. They have, Traquan Smith, a speed guy that's been there. They have, really deep receiver room. So Saints on the road just seems like they should be able to get that done against the Falcons. And then the other one is the Monday night game. I do have the Broncos, Russell Wilson returning to Seattle at -4. I think that one's up to like 6 or so. So again, like maybe a Broncos Saints money line parlay is the play at this point. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking of the Brady game last year. Everybody piles on the Bucs. Tampa comes into New England. New England has a shot to win the game and almost covers. They get the weather they need with the downpour and the wind, and who knows what it'll be like in Seattle. But yeah, Denver should be pretty good. They have a good running game. They have a good line. Russell Wilson. They have the pass catchers. They have the defense. Seattle doesn't have many pieces. Seattle might be a little bit better than we think, but this is a tough game to see them winning. But I will say the spot is tough for Russell Wilson, and we saw it last year for Brady. So if there's a game I buy out of and leave open a small middle, like if this got to 7 and I could have 4 and 7, this would potentially be the spot.
The crawler's been going the whole time, Jules. Where can they follow you? Well, very simply, if they're on Twitter, they can go to @Julian Edlow. They can follow your work at DraftKings, at DK Sportsbook, at DK Live, your podcast at the Unreasonable Odds Podcast. You talked about your 2 promos this week with DK, a touchdown lead either which way on the Thursday night game or a 10-point lead on Sunday. And we can't thank you enough for popping on a little shorter than normal, but 20, 25 minutes with you is better than nothing. And then we will be in touch throughout the week. And if you're not following him, follow him. And if you have any questions, just send them out to him and he'll do his work.
Bring your questions, bring your markets that you want to bring up on DK Sportsbook. I'll get them up there I will ask to get them up there for you. I can't personally get them up there for you. I will do my best. And yeah, we got, player props have trickled out on DK Sportsbook. So that's what I'm going to dive into this week. Obviously, as a fantasy site, we pride ourselves on kind of getting out any type of player prop you would want to bet on. So we'll have those coming up. I think the Thursday night game has some good props, particularly on the Bills side that I'll start getting out this week.
All right, Jules, have a safe trip. Talk to you soon.
All right, sir. Enjoy Vegas.
All right, take care. The one and only Julian Edlow from DraftKings, good friend. And when I was out here in March, he was here. I'm trying to think back to the July trip. Actually, he was out here in July as well. He's not here with me in September. But with that said, later on this afternoon, I have a show in about 2.5 hours with my buddy Pops. The year 3 of the NFL Bet Exchange will be recording that. And then I'm going to catch up with Riley. We will get a closing bell in today at some point. Congrats to the ECSI VIPs yesterday. 1-0 to start the week. Strike up the band. Mondays have been real tough for us, but we had the White Sox yesterday, 3-2 winners. So we start the week +1 unit. Congrats, Sunday, 3-0, 3 separate parlays. +6 units, +6 units, +8.5 units. So if you played all 3 parlays for 1 unit each, you won just over 20 units for the day. About second or third time we've been to do that since we started that approach. So thank you. We'll be back later this afternoon. Any questions, comments, concern, you can send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter at EC Sports Invest. Have a great morning, peeps, and we will see you soon.